Yeah, we're good. Gotta make sure the audio is freaking on this time. But we're getting close. We're getting close. So at the end of today, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So however that adjusts to wherever you are, Gymshark's doing it's code extra 25. So this is, I don't know if they would. I think they're just what they wouldn't call it Cyber Monday because it's not tech. You know, it's just it's more kind of extended Black Friday. But everything 50% off. Actually, wait, no, that's not. Everything up to 50% off. So some stuff is 10, some stuff is 20, but a couple things are 50. There's this one blue hoodie that's actually a pretty good deal because it's 50% off, and then with the code extra 25, it's another 25% off. So it's going from like a regular $60 hoodie down to I think a 27, and the cut's actually cool. I talked about it a couple days ago in a chest day. And then my November giveaway for the Instagram photo contest, photo/reel, we're gonna get those narrowed down to a top 3, and then the top contender of either will get a $1,000 gift card plus a couple of other kind of just gift box style stuff. But that'll be in a couple days. And if you've got any ideas of any other kind of cool stuff we could do like that, let me know, because that's I don't think I'm the most creative in terms of like those kind of promo contests or anything. So if you got a really sweet idea, I'd freaking love to hear it. But plan for today for a little bit of an earlier back day, which I look at the weather, I'm like, shit, it's gonna be 22. Does not feel like 22 out. Let me see what the camera is reading on the thermometer. 27. Okay, so a little bit warmer, but I swear zero wind. I know this is like such a cliche, but the wind is what really gets you. My main struggle with the cold was a couple years ago back at school when I'd have to bike to class, because it wasn't even if you did, I even had a car on campus the last 2 years, but there's no, like, you can't park next to class. There's nothing like that. So you're either booking it on an electric scooter, or you got a bike, or you're just walking. So I never wanted to walk because I felt like it took too long. So I'm zipping around on a bike, and I got to wear like 2 pairs of pants and then a jacket with another jacket, like a big puff on top. And then I'd get to class and I'd have to freaking shed everything off, or else I'd be like sweating my what's off, because I'm like 240 at the time, bolt. So yeah, it's good to have a drive commute to the gym, that's for sure. But it's kind of fun. I got a little taste of what that's like in New York. We just went on a little New York trip a couple days ago. That was pretty sweet. And there's going to be some New York returns. I'm not exactly sure when, but Gymshark's doing a actual like on the ground store, like a legit storefront instead of just an online shop down there. We drove past it, and like it's kind of cool to see. Usually you don't. It's obviously you see clothing stores, but it's actually pretty crazy to see all that kind of come together. But walking to the gym for those couple days was not super fun, because it's like 20 something. I got to cover up enough that I'm warm for the walk, and then peel off every layer once I actually start lifting. And then when you walk back from the gym, unless you bring a full-on spare change of clothes, you're walking back slightly damp because you're kind of sweaty. So now I'm getting hit with like a little bit of a wind chill. I like to think that I'm not so like seasonal opinionated, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a hater because there's no snow. I like when it's cold, I want it to look cold. I don't want it to look just like foggy, right? But plan for today's back day, nothing wild. And honestly, I was kind of considering swapping it for a shoulder day. I don't know, because I feel like I've been overdoing it with like heavy pull downs a little bit. And how I know that is I get like a little bit of a twingy feeling in the top of my lats, like where they connect to my to my arm, or however that connection works. I'll get like just a little something. Like it's not going to tear, like I don't have a pull, but it's just like a little tenderness, and I'm kind of feeling it right now. Like if I really sit and flex, but maybe I'm just thinking that because it's cold and I'm like I feel kind of stiff. So we'll see. I'll warm up, get everything kind of moving around, and then if I decide back needs to be delayed for tomorrow, then I'll just make it shoulders, which I got to throw some shoulders in the mix anyway every every so often just to keep it moving. But I'm not so picky, right? I know there's a little bit of a what's the word I'm thinking of? There's I can't even think of what I'm trying to say. There's I think there's a value in adjusting your workout based on your current circumstance. That's what I'm trying to get at. If you write out a program and it's like this, 4 sets of this, 10 sets of this, 80 sets of this, obviously those are made up numbers, then I think it can kind of lock the guy into thinking that he has to do that routine exactly as written, or else he's off plan and he's no longer making progress. Whereas, I feel like it's more so something that you can prepare for, but you can't completely predict. So that's the value of, being able to make kind of an on-the-fly decision. Not that it's like super high stakes, but if I come in for a back day today and maybe my back or my lat feels kind of something, well then pivot, cut I keep trying to bust out a really perfect analogy, but then I totally lose it. But it's okay to say you're going to do something and then readjust and swap your plan to something else, which makes more sense in the moment. And I think a lot of people don't do that. I think there's been I'd be curious what the percentage is. Let's just say purely bench related. Like how many times has somebody ripped their pec off or had a really bad shoulder thing happen doing heavy bench, and before they actually did the set, before they actually went for it, they had a thought to themselves, oh, maybe I shouldn't. Oh, this might be too much. But then they still did it anyway, right? That's the real blunder, So you may feel like it's a bit of a retreat, like a backing down. I wouldn't say so. If you leave the gym uninjured with a pump, guess what, man? You're a winner. And you can come back the next day and do it again, and do it again, and do it however many thousand times you're going to do it for, and then a couple more thousand after that. So that's one thing which I've begun to put a lot more value on. Probably over the last 2 years, year and a half, 2 years-ish, I've gotten the gist of I really shouldn't hurt myself. Maybe I shouldn't rip my rotator cuff to shreds by trying to do XYZ. Maybe I should employ at least a little bit of caution, right? But obviously dieting, this is a little bit of an extreme case because I need to come in, get a solid pump, decent stimulation, good squeeze, and that's all. I'm not progressively overloading right now in a diet. I'm just maintaining all the size I've already built and then peeling off body fat on the outside. Plus, in a dieting state anyway, I don't want to. If I did 4 plates on incline, sure, maybe even if I could do it, which honestly, dieting, I do get a strength dip, but even if I could unrack it, the benefit, the reward is absolutely not physical. It's just the fact that it's cool, and I can handle not feeling crazy cool like that, at least right now, because there's right. So if you miss the heavy lifts, or if you tune in for a quad day every so often, which not so many people do, and you're like, oh shit, what the hell is this? Light leg press and leg extension. Sam, what the frick kind of workout is that? It's not how I grew my legs, but it is how I'm maintaining them as I diet down. So if you want to see a really good workout, go back to to this last bulking phase. I think it was I called it the off season. Obviously it was an off season, but I forget the YouTube title. But those workouts were serious. Those ones were freaking crazy. There was one maybe 4 months ago, something like that. I'm doing legs, hamstrings first, a couple leg extensions, 6-plate squat for 8, and then a bunch more leg extensions after that, decently heavy with some sissy squats and a little bit of like machine loadable hacks. Like, you know, it's not that I'm afraid of wild sets like that, but it's just not it's not the move per se at this current moment. But it'll come back. So if you really miss you know, like 3 plates and change on incline, and that's the only kind of training you want to see me doing, I'd say maybe we should add maybe YouTube should add a function where I can somehow make a notification only if certain criteria is met. Like, like imagine if YouTube could actually, like, you know, AI analyze the pump and then only send out a notification if the, you know, the large language model ended up actually reading out like, this was actually a crazy pump. Like, this wasn't just, this was actually a crazy one, you know, or some stupid shit like that. But either way, that's I'm sure they're not gonna, you know, cater towards the lifter so much. It's kind of a small population relative to everybody else, but we'll see. I'd say 50-50 whether it's back or shoulders. So I guess if you read the title, you already know what's going on. So no need to deprive you any further. Let's just get freaking started. Let's start with this T-bar row. Now this one in particular is freaking heavy. So usually I can, like, I mean, shit, with some T-bars, I can throw like 6 plates onto it. And I'm kind of like, it's heavy, but I'm throwing it around. With this one, nah, 3, well, I don't know. I mean, I could probably get pretty heavy, but for today, 3 is going to be good. And this is going to be a hard set. This won't be like, you know, like this is about right. So while I'm strong for the first couple of reps, I want to hold, squeeze it, really kind of put my mind into my back and try to get my elbows to like touch each other. They can't, but that's what I'm like aiming for. And then burn out with some partials. No. Yeah. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, there was no squeeze and hold with that. That was a good one, though. Let's do one more of the same weight. I might make it a drop set, though. Yeah, crap, that's freaking heavy. All right, one more. So, yeah, I guess leaning on the heavier side, not so much light squeezing. But it feels good, so no harm, no foul. Ooh, okay, that's enough of that. Let's grab something else. Oh, yeah, in terms of trap activation, that's freaking crazy. Let's change it up and do a light-ish, really wide grip pull down. A little quicker pace too. And it's not like wider grip means more lats and narrow grip means less lats. It's just a different kind of feeling. I'd say for the most part, a little wider than shoulder width is fine, but it's good to change it up. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, one more like that. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's do a cable pullover next and then decide what to finish with. All right. So, nothing crazy. Let's just go for 60. 60's all right. So, just 5 reps on each side, alternating, kind of in like a scooping action. I'll hold on to the handle. This is one thing which now I'm extra sensitive to, because if you do a bunch of like pullovers or pushdowns and you grab the nub, every time you bend the nub, it gets weak, or at least weaker, and then eventually it could freaking snap, you know. And as cool as like getting an across the eye scar and like fucking going blind like guts or something might look from having this cable snap and whip me in the face, I'd rather it not happen. So that's one thing I think gyms all need is extra nubs at the bottom, so you can still do a thing like this, but not break the stuff. But let's get started. All right. Yeah, that's a really good lower lat squeeze. If you don't have a good like mind muscle connection down there, this movement light should help. But let's just do one finisher. No, we're good. We can pose down. Let's change it up. Normally, I like to finish with a light squeezing movement. So let's go a little bit heavier here. 4 plates on this row isn't like out of this world weight for me, but it's on the heavier side of things. So I think a good hard set of this with some partials, we'll be ready to pose down. So a little more, Today was actually very balanced. Mid-back, upper back bias rows, and some pull downs, a pull over, and then now another row to finish. Yeah, shit, man. That's a little bit short relative to what some people may think is necessary, but that's a complete ass back day. Well, let me get a better song though. Again, Discover Weekly has no idea what I like. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see how we're looking. All right, so the workout is not done. There's still a little more to be finished, aka 30 minutes of pedaling, but that was good. So let me do another recap. That was row, pull down, pull over, row. Yeah, man, 6, not a terrible number. A little lower on my normal spectrum. Usually I'd say 6 to 8 is about there. But dieting down, volume for me does come down a little bit. Not a ton, like I'm not doing 2 sets, but a little less. Just because, it's a little easier to stimulate than annihilate, if you follow. But let's see how we're looking. So I should have done a pose down pumpless. The only downside of a back pump is, sure, your back is bigger, but it loses some definition, So any amount of like Christmas tree that I might have like decently visible would be a little crazier if I were unpumped. Because right now I'm like a little extra swollen on the backside. But let's see how we're looking. Ooh, goodness. Oh, man. All right. So pre-workout meal was just 45 grams of carbs worth of oatmeal, which just to have something in my system. But honestly, I don't really want to eat a ton before dieting lifts, because I want to do the lift early in the morning or earlier in the day, but not fasted either. So just by eating a little something lets me burn off a little bit of that, blood sugar, rather than totally ripping through my glycogen stores. But triceps getting gradually more defined. A little, let's see, is there any hint of striations or no? And not yet. That'll take a little while. But midsection, I feel like these last couple days, like all of this definition from like, not even just the center, but even like some of this, I feel like I haven't seen like these kind of corner gill looking abs like look this interesting. So I wonder what I did this last off season to give them a little extra oomph. Maybe it was some of the heavy squats from all the bracing. I really couldn't tell you, because I didn't do any direct ab training. So who knows? Let's just say muscle maturity and call it a day. But I'm gonna go camp out for my 30. So I'll see you in the car in, well, for you, just 1 second. All right, yeah. What kind of phase are we in right now? I'm not saying we, like, us. I mean the general population, right? I'm talking the potentially more regular folk. And I mean guys who are a little more swayable in terms of their motivation and their commitment to things. Obviously primarily the gym, if I'm talking about it. But it's, obviously New Year's motivation boost. Usually the Olympia motivation boost. The Arnold is probably going to be a motivation boost. The Fit Expo, in only about a month and a couple of days, I'll put the link down to because I'm going to be there. That's a motivation boost. Every congregation of all the fitness guys, whether they're more just influencer side or like full-on straight bodybuilder, at least every time I ever see like an expo like that or go, or like a competition, like it levels up like my excitement just because it's so fun to see, So in between those moments, in between those like concentrated densities of fucking just beef, is when everyone goes back. They go back home. They go back to their den, and they do whatever they do. Right? So whether that is they are hitting legit lifts, actually clocking hours, reps, cardios, pumps, they're doing it for real and they mean it, Or if they're slacking, it doesn't really change much, you know. I think we're in one of those moments now, right? Everybody's doing their stuff, but it's not necessarily the flashiest time, you know. And also, end of year is kind of like it's kind of a chill. Honestly, I think that December with Christmas right after Thanksgiving. I don't know about in terms of like generalized business. If anything, I'd say business would get like more stressful and intense because like December deals and stuff, like you got to really. But in terms of like just regular kind of general consensus, I feel like December is like the weekend. December is the weekend of the year. December is we did it. It's done. I don't have to freaking worry about it anymore, man. It's December. It's Christmas, right? I'm not thinking about whatever the hell I thought I cared about before. I get to chill out. It's December. We made it. New year, new me. So it's like a little bit of a safety to think, okay, I'm in my cocoon. I don't have to go through metamorphosis. Yeah, that's for New Year's. It's already December. So it's I think it's a little bit of like a throwing in the towel if somebody didn't really do it. And I probably said this like 30 times this whole year. Just like, all right, guys, end of January. What have you done, man? You know, have you gotten any bigger, stronger, leaner, faster? Maybe if you're like a multi-sport kind of athlete sort of dude. Like, what have you changed? Or even just on like a personal level. Have you gotten into any new kind of hobbies or skills or just little random things? Or like, I mean, even as, I know it's like basic, but even as basic as like just watching a movie that you've been telling yourself that you want to watch instead of just like sitting scrolling on your phone, totally killing time. Like just little things like that. That's how I want to add up my years. I feel like that's kind of how I want to add up like my whole life. You know, it's not always about huge, massive freaking accomplishment moments. It's more so like, you know, just small kind of collections of moments, and I want them to all add up very well and very positively. So if that's just one day of me sitting on the bike like today, thinking, man, I'm pedaling, I feel good, nice. If that's me cracking open like a diet soda or something, having a sip and then playing a game of Counter-Strike, nice, feel pretty good, right? But also if it's me like getting all my stuff organized, you know, doing some kind of thing that I got to work on, that's another kind of positive like that too, you know. So I think the problem with working out is it's such a fleeting enjoyment, because what do? Like, take someone who never really worked out before and tell them, okay, man, spend an hour and a half or an hour, probably an hour, get sweaty, hurt, kind of, you know, if you're not used to it. Obviously, we like the feeling of a good set, but someone who's not really into the gym just feels that and they think, oh, this freaking burns or it stings, or I don't want to do this. Oh, you know. So it's a lot of kind of not drawbacks, but a lot of difficulty. And what's the benefit after one lift? Jack. You know, I think if everybody in the planet was given 24 hours and then that was the end of it, I would work out. I'd probably lift during that day just because I like it, but it wouldn't be for the sake of any gains. It would just be because I would want to do it and like get a pump, you know, because it kind of requires a high degree of consistency, you know. Lifting is a class where attendance is a 50% chunk of your grade, and you can miss a few days with an excuse, but if on average you're skipping, if on average you're not showing up, well then guess what, man, you're gonna fail. You know, same with dieting, which I would imagine a lot of people would see that as screw it, it's not even worth it. And this goes for everything, which is a really weird if you're maybe like into psychology or whatever, I'd love to hear an explanation for this. But the basic idea, I feel, is it's very easy to say, well, if I can't do it 100% perfect, well, I'm not even going to try. I mean, if I can't put all my energy into it for real, it's not even worth it, So with the gym, if I'm not going to work out every day for 7 days a week and do an hour of cardio and then do a 5-mile run, it's not even worth it. Screw it, And that's, it just sucks, because I don't even know what to say to that, right? Like, I'd like to think that if somebody could come to me with a question of, like, how do I, what's some tips? The gym is like it's my biggest thing. I like to think I can always bust out like a little bit of advice from all my experience over these last, we're getting close to like 7.5 years of like weight-based training, not including like all the like calisthenics, like body weight stuff I did during gymnastics. But sometimes I get stumped, because I've gotten hit with this a few times, and it's just like, how do I get motivated? Like, basically written out exactly like this. How do I get motivated? I just don't like working out. Well, I don't know, man. So that's one thing that I can very strongly kind of get into, is the idea that it's your thing. It's for you. If you've got a little critter running around, like a little chitlin, and let's say you freaking love golf, and you try to force your kid to play golf, and you put all this pressure on it because you want him to do it, it's probably not going to work. That's not from experience, but from what I've kind of heard, the more you would try to push someone into something, the more they're going to fight you back, and then they won't even want to do it at all, and they'll end up freaking hating it. So the gym, I think, is the fact that it's so personal, in the sense that you get the reward, but you also have to, put in the time and effort for it. And there isn't much of a in-between of making that process easier. Then there's no external motivation that you can bring up, or that you can kind of look to, because it's just not how it works, So that's where you got to kind of find something that gets you amped, right? Get your music playing. Watch somebody work out who you just freaking, when you see them work out, you're like, I want to be like that. Watch a bunch of random TikTok edits from shows. I mean, I get freaking amped watching a badass kind of like cool song, Goku, Vegeta sort of deal. Like just whatever gets you excited, play into that as hard as you can. Some guys there's this weird minimalist idea where it's like, oh, I don't want to do headphones in the gym, man. I don't want to be reliant on headphones. I don't want to rely on. That's like some performative male BS, dude. I want to get freaking amped every which way possible, so that my workouts are as enjoyable as I can make them, and as intense and stimulating as I can make them, so that I want to come back next time bigger, stronger, leaner. Insert any other adjective which kind of fits that criteria. So I guess that's my main point, right? Find that little spark to ignite your motivation, and then ride that wave. That's probably my biggest tip in terms of trying to goal set forward. Because if the motivation is there, the how becomes pretty easy, right? How, it doesn't really matter how you work out. If the why is, dude, I want to freaking lift. I want to get if that why is there, if that internal hype is there, dude, honestly, the guy could probably do anything. He could just do a farmer or like garage style workout, kettlebells, push-up kind of deal, whatever. If that why is there, if you've got a strong why, well, then with the how, you're good. It'll all just kind of line itself up over time. But I'm going to get home and slam some top round. Probably not take a post-workout nap, because I want to go to bed a little bit earlier today. And then I will see you for, I'll see you for some arms tomorrow. I just finished this lift, and now I'm already excited about tomorrow, because I know an arm pump is going to be freaking nuts. So I guess I'll just see you then.